Good evening, speed running fans. Good evening, Super Metroid fans. We have an incredibly hype matchup today for you. We are getting into some of the later rounds with these top seeded individuals in our 100% item collection Speedgaming Live 2023 tournament. My name is Professor School. I hope to be joined very shortly in the commentary booth by the Hockey Towner. But for now, I'm going to be flying solo and trying to guide you all through this incredible matchup between Eddie on our left and ShinyZeni on our right. Eddie, kind of a newcomer to 100%, but not a newcomer whatsoever to Super Metroid, has had incredible success both in vanilla and in randomizer, and in a very, very short time, surprising no one, already has a top 40 time. A very difficult to get 117 in just a manner of a few short runs, and that's just a testament to the skill that Eddie brings to the table. Of course, a runner that has a 40 in any percent, that is an incredibly tall task and very difficult to accomplish. And some of you folks may have heard of the runner on your right. ShinyZeni is our current and multiple time world record holder across a number of different major categories, including the current world record holder in 100% with a time of 1:12:40. It's been a hype week here and a hype couple weeks dating back to the beginning of this tournament. Zeni coming in with the world record that he had been holding for the last little bit here, took several seconds off that world record in multiple lowerings of that world record, and then Behemoth, after finishing up with an incredible GT Classic grind, popped in, derusted very quickly, and on one of his earlier runs back, managed to reclaim the world record by 21 frames. And within about 24 hours, Zeni took that record right back by about a half a second. And this is all happening at the same time that we have new world records, as I mentioned, in GT Classic. Oates, of course, with a new world record in any percent. It's a very exciting time to be a Super Metroid fan. Thanks for the correction there, folks. Looks like a 41:18, actually, for Eddie. My mistake. No schlep time, though. An incredible time. And so, folks, what we really have here is two elite speedrunners going at it. Zeni, of course, with a considerable amount more experience with Hundo, which I think will be to his benefit throughout the course of the race, and certainly the favorite. But Eddie, no slouch. If you take a look at some of this early game movement that we're going to see from Eddie, it is really absolutely top tier. And in my humble opinion, the only thing that really keeps Eddie from being at the top of the leaderboard in Hundo is time. This is an individual who I think, applying himself, could absolutely be one of the top 4 or 5 runners in the world in this category. And we'll just have to see if he actually has the opportunity to, or the willingness to stay with this long and very difficult category. All right, folks, so here we go. We've collected our first couple items already. We're going to be heading back up this elevator. We've activated the planet. We can get into the meat and potatoes part of the speed run, start really collecting a lot of items. A little bit about these runners and what they're planning on doing here. Both of these runners are late Crocomire runners. Of course, there's a number of different routes we've seen featured so far, the primary division being late versus early Croc. Some runners in both of those routes do choose to go up Red Tower early to get those powerbomb packs for a single trip through Warehouse and Kraid's Lair. In this particular instance, both of these runners will be staying down and going down Red Tower first. And in addition to all the hype we've had with records being traded back and forth, there's been some pretty fantastic developments this past year. We've, of course, had Stachio skip, that sort of clockwise baby skip. We've had a number of additional strat modifications, lag reductions. We're always updating things. but perhaps one of the most really fascinating discoveries that we've had in recent time is a new real-time efficient and viable setup for a more fast, or I should say for a faster and more efficient stand-up. We'll talk about the stand-up manipulation a little bit more as we get into it, but I can guarantee you that both of these runners will at least be going for the new manipulation. Just for a little preview of that, if you don't try to manipulate mother brain at all, or if you can't, like in some categories like any percent where it's not done, it takes about 7 seconds for mother brain to sit down in the corner after the baby is draining her. And it takes about 4 to 5 seconds for her to sit down if you manipulate her properly with the current optimal setup. This new setup allows you to have mother brain sit down in about 1.5 seconds, so it's about a 5.5 second save, which is a monumental amount of time over no manipulation whatsoever, and it's a 2.5 to 3 second save over the current optimal manip. Maybe we'll get into the details of that a little bit more, but we just wanted to preview that for you because we haven't had a race in going on 2 days now, and we've had one of the larger discoveries, I think, in the last few years in terms of in bulk time saves. Finally being able to reproduce something that TAS has been able to do for a long, long time, but with an RTA setup, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, sorry about that, chat. We got Hockey's mic pretty low right now. Yeah, hoping that Hockey's okay. Pinged him and sent a message out, but no word yet. So hopefully he'll pop in here and we'll get the dulcet tones of one Hockey Towner joining us. Pretty even movement so far. These two runners just within an item fanfare of each other. Be getting one of our first big tricks coming up here is this reverse mock ball. Nicely executed there from Zeni. And Eddie following close behind. Excellently done from both runners. Hoping for a super drop if possible with that farm out of the pipe. Neither one of them getting that super drop. Kind of nice to get that one, but it's okay if you don't. Really, really lovely mock ball there from Zeni with the Kago and the door fix. Eddie just missing the actual Kago for the mock ball. Zeni going for the weave on your right. Just missing it by a little bit. That is a frame perfect trick. Eddie opting instead for a pretty lovely trick there, which is that moonfall down that right side of Big Pink. No up and two, but that's all right. Pretty clean movement from both of these runners so far. Really nice times there in that 8-1X range for that charge touch. And here we go, yeah. Zeni going down red tower. We'll see the same from Eddie. Neither one of these runners picking up that early powerbomb pack from Alpha BPs. We'll get that in a little bit. Nice weave moonfall from these runners, and now they go to pick up this Spazer Beam. Folks, in the meantime, remember to stay tuned. We have had about 24 to 48 hours without any action in this exciting tournament, but things are heating up coming into the weekend. Today we're kicking off with this excellent race between Eddie and Zeni. We've got races all weekend long, so keep your eyes peeled. On Friday, P-Toil and Decalled will be racing. Static Shock versus a real cutie, Sasreem and Scotty, Omni and Merkling, and Timon and Nick, all on Saturday and Sunday, and then Sloters and Fat Scott on Monday. Folks, we have an absolutely jam-packed schedule for you in this tournament, so stay tuned for those hype races. Remember, this is a double elimination tournament, so even if you lose this race, you are still alive and well in this tournament. Yeah, it's going to set up for some really exciting races as we get into sort of the rounds where the top 10 to 15 players are going to be duking it out. Lovely lag reduction and missile crate quick kill from Zeni. Health a little low for Eddie. Now, sometimes runners will opt to still put themselves into health bomb range there, just because the lag reduction is so powerful. You can save about a second with lag reduction strats there by putting Samus into the spikes. Take 2 hits, costs you 32 health. Eddie's health a little bit low there, so opting not to do that. No super drops for either our runners coming out. That does make a little bit of a difference here, depending on how super drops go for the rest of the time through Upper North Fair. Usually like to be leaving with 5, if at all possible, out of that mini crate room. Very nicely done there from Zeni in Kraid's closet, managing to get that very critical 20 energy in reserves and immediately gets a big health drop. So that's 40 in reserves right away for Zeni. That's excellent. You always feel good leaving with that much health right off the bat. Looks like a small health for Eddie, so 40 for ShinyZeni in his reserves. Eddie's got 25. We'll keep an eye on that because in this late croc route, of course, as you're probably all aware, we are going to be skipping an E-Tank that we would have otherwise gotten at Crockemeyer, and we're going to be going straight up on 1 less E-Tank to the wrecked ship. And there's a little clever strat there from Eddie, opening that green door, that super missile door to ice now, hoping for good super drops later, and then saving an extra super going up into wrecked ship. And then there was a big health for Eddie too. So both of our runners probably somewhere in the 45 to 50 range right now. And they're going to probably do 3 farms here in this room, which is the optimal strat. Farm the first Sova, and then the 2 above you. Nice super drop for Zeni. Looks like maybe 1 or 2 small healths. Let's see what kind of drops we get here from Eddie. Nice big health. So Zeni a little bit ahead on super missiles now. Eddie is going to have to be careful and is going to lose a little bit of time here, unfortunately, because he has to missile this red door. So we got to be a little bit careful with that. Make sure that you actually have that last super missile that you need. Of course, that's a little bit of the danger of using that super missile when you're only on 2 to open that green door early. Probably feels good getting that super there, though. Really nice. Super drops galore here. Ooh, unfortunately, Eddie just a little short on that platform. But manages to avoid any real catastrophes. Sometimes Bulba Mountain can be really painful. So just a little bit of a lead here opening up for Zeni, having a slightly more efficient time here in Upper Norfair. Eddie, of course, having to missile that door, and having just a couple hiccups along the way, including one in Bubble Mountain. But it's still a pretty tight race. Still not the friendliest super drops for our runners, I have to say. See if these Sovas are any friendlier here to Zeni in Business Center. Just going for the one farm there. Eddie will save an extra super, having already pre-opened the green door to ice. Yeah, and you won't shake your head at those two big health drops. That's really nice. Easy ice escape for Zeni. Very nicely done. Is he going to get this door check? Oh, it looks pretty good. Yeah, really nicely done and smoothly onto the elevator. Nice smooth ice escape there for Eddie as well. All right, folks, we're getting into the part of the run where things get a little bit spicy. We're going up to wrecked ship now on one less E-tank than you might see in most 100% runs. It can be a little bit more challenging. You got to keep an eye on your health this entire time. You got to choose your strats wisely, and you might need to adjust things on the fly for these two runners based on whether or not they actually get the drops that they need from Fantoon, and depending on how things go in that fight. Zeni is going to be going for really excellent blue keep strat there, which is incredibly fast. Excellent lag reduction. Very, very nicely executed from Zeni. Holy smokes, folks. Let's see what Eddie tries to pull off in this room. I actually don't know. It's interesting with, yeah, so Eddie's just going for the more standard strat there. It can be really difficult to try to pick up all of the different strats in the hundo and know as easily what's going on in each of these rooms. And I think that's really the thing that separates these runners. It's really not their base skill level so much as it is just their full understanding of the category. And this is Zeni's favorite category, and he's been playing this for a very, very long time. And I think that's really what separates these two runners today. Zeni, of course, just nailing That ocean fly, beautifully done. Going for the same charge beam setup here is Eddie. Drops it in. Ah, gosh, it's always hard to tell. Whether that's a little bit early on the shot. Yeah, it looks like the beam was just going off screen. Pretty good entry time here for Zeni. All right, folks, get your guesses in chat. Let's see what Fantoon has in store for us today. Mid first round. Looks like he got 6 or 7 missiles in, maybe, so should have a nice clean chance for a 2-round. Health is a little bit low. Yeah, nice 2-round cleanup there for Zeni on the mid-slow. That was really tricky. That upper left pattern for the second round slow is a real pain in the butt sometimes with the way that those flames come down. And Zeni really handled it well. That is no easy task dealing with those flames in that second round. Eddie may be hoping to pick up a little bit of time on Zeni here, unfortunately getting the first round slow. Yeah, a little bit of a quizzical look there from Eddie. He wasn't quite sure what happened with his Doppler there. He only got maybe 3 in on the first round and immediately just decided to do an on-screen and push the third round right away. And fortunately getting the mid in the third round, which is good. You always hate to be punished in that situation by the rarer slow pattern. It's about a 2-to-1 odds that you get that mid pattern there. So I'm sure Eddie, at least despite the 3-round, very happy that he got the better mid pattern there. Pretty good so far. Zeni's playing what appears to be pretty close to his PB time, which does have a 1-round Fantoon in it. So all things considered, 1-round Fantoon versus a slow mid, or a mid-slow, is pretty good overall. Ended up getting pretty good health drops. And as a result, was able to go with that ball boost strat in Spiky Room of Death. And a nice little 1-bomb setup there. You can take a little sigh of relief every time you're running this category and you get through to this part. Obviously, you've got all of Wreck Chip in front of you, still very challenging, but it always feels good to grab that E-Tank. Yeah, it was a beautiful bomb jump from Zeni. There are other ways to tackle that. But I'll tell you what, that was excellently done there. And folks, have I got good news for you? I just received a message from the one, the only, the Hockey Towner, and I have a feeling that we're about to get a very pleasant surprise for our eardrums here, folks. Oh my goodness, that attic from Zeni. Absolutely beautiful. So much incredible speedrunning action going on our screen. And look at that! Holy smokes! After the incredible attic, one of the worst rooms in the game in this category. This assembly line with those robots can be absolutely jerks sometimes. And Zeni handled the first part of that room really, really, really well. Yeah, and the beautiful mid-air morph exit that allows Zeni to just cruise in between those platforms there. Very nicely done. Okay, that both sounded and looked pretty good from Zeni. He's shooting those shots into the floor there, going for that robot flush. Looked pretty good, so we should expect to see both of these robots in their holes. Nice Sky Missile grab from Eddie. GG's. Oh, and the nice missile snipe of that one tile from Eddie as well. Always feels good to get that and not burn that super ore that time. Folks, may I introduce you to the one, the only, the Hockey Towner, joining us just in time for this race that's already underway and super spicy, and we've got excellent stuff coming up. So glad to be joined here by Hockey. As soon as he unmutes himself, we're going to get him on in here.
I thought that was all part of the introduction, Professor School. Thank you so very much. Hello, Speedgaming. My sincerest apologies, but we're here. Everything's great. We've got Eddie and Zeni. Prof, it looks like we've got one heck of a race going on right now.
Yeah, we absolutely do, Hockey. Two extremely talented runners, as I pointed out in our introductions. And Eddie just a little bit behind here, owing, I think, mostly on account just how well Zeni understands all of the different aspects of this category in and out. But Eddie no slouch, one of the best runners in the entire SM community on both the vanilla and rando sides. And I think he's going to keep this interesting and fun for us to watch along the way.
No, for sure, Prof, for sure. Eddie does, like we said, Eddie does have a little bit to catch up. He does need to grab that wreck ship reserve tank and the gravity suit. He does grab the missile there, but Zeni is in truly top form to end all top form right now.
Yeah, he sure is. I mean, he's running within just a little bit of his PB. He's doing really well. Eddie also having a pretty good run for him right now. So we got a lot of excellent Super Metroid happening so far on the screen. We missed you in the beginning. Hope you're all right. Glad that you're joining us now, and happy that I don't have to sail this ship all on my own.
No, for sure. Thank you, and especially the tournament organizers and our illustrious runners, and of course you, the viewers at home, for understanding. You know, sometimes life does happen, but everything is absolutely fine, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be joining, albeit a little bit late. But Zeni, wraparound shot into that gauntlet spark. You love to see that. 29 energy is going to be setting up for Procreation Professional Professor School.
Are we going to get this? Is it coming? Samus Expert Master incoming? There it is.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, shout outs to Sassy Zeni herself for coining that alliterative alternative name for that trick. But of course, shout outs to Sephi, as Professor School called it, the Samus Expert Master.
Yep. Now, this is kind of interesting here because I didn't have an opportunity to talk about this earlier, but Eddie's health is a little bit... I'm surprised he's going... Okay, good. I was just going to say, it's really risky. He's on 126 health here. If you go for that fast ceiling boost strat, and miss it, you are not going to have enough energy to get through. He has just enough if his reserves are completely full.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You need about 224 to 225 to get through safely. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I know that he had at least 60 or 70 in his reserves. I do not know if his reserves are full. Folks, we are all holding our breath for this start menu. Let's see. And the reserves are full. He has
Let's
just
go.
enough to get through. Just enough.
Oh my gosh, look at this.
No, Eddie, you have to move left. No. Okay, I hope he gets through. I hope he gets through. Oh, God!
Come on! One block! One block, Professor School! You're kidding me.
Okay, yeah. And so Eddie probably didn't know that, but you need to move over a couple tiles to make it through with 225 health. But fortunately, he did not get Yapping Mod. It can be really, really stressful in that situation. Oh, and the spark into the ceiling. That can be really stressful because, you know, you're like panicking. Oh gosh, I have to get out of the acid. Oh gosh, I have to get out of the acid. And there's so much lag at that point on the screen from the crash animation and the power bomb you lay that you can rush your inputs. They don't register. You end up staying in the acid and it's GG's. So for Eddie to get out of that situation unscathed is actually no small feat, and GG's to him on actually making it through safely.
Absolutely. Eddie is certainly a smooth operator and he is operating correctly tonight, but Zeni is just kind of taking this race over, is just cleaning up the bottom of Green Brinstar. Still has the entire Meridia section. I've said it for any percent. I've said it for multiple categories. I feel like especially in Hundo Prof, Meridia is just a highly technically demanding section, although he does still have to finish up Pink Brinstar.
Yeah. I will say, despite the troubles that Eddie has had, I'm being, very nitpicky. I'm coming from the perspective of a person who's run a lot of 100%, but I mean, I can't really levy any major criticisms. He's an incredible runner. He's spent almost no time with the category, and he was actually racing against my splits for a while and already beat
Nice.
my updated PD, my updated PB.
That's wild.
He's an absolute animal, and I have absolute faith, as I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, that if Eddie were to stay with this category for any prolonged period of time, we would have another, potentially 113, 114 runner in our hands.
No question about it. Eddie can certainly achieve that. He certainly has the talent and the skill and the determination. Love that Mission Impossible from ShinyZeni. Also now getting that wave E-Tank intended strats, using the wave beam to open up that gate. But Eddie's still now into Green Brinstar, going to clean it up as Zeni continues his Brinstar cleanup. But I'm biased. I love Meridia. I think it's just one of the best sections of the game. It's just so challenging.
It is very challenging, but the strats that we're about to see represented here by our runners are probably going to be really top tier. I'm looking forward to that. Always a joy to watch the world record holder race, of course, but when you have two runners of this caliber on the screen at the same time, you could barely ask for more. And this is what we're looking forward to for the rest of this tournament. These matches are going to be hype, so stay tuned. We got a lot of good ones coming up.
Yeah, it's true. The matches are certainly intensifying. SGLIVE, all the Super Metroid has been just absolutely first class, absolute can't miss. And what better than to be here on the flagship station, Professor School? Love to see it. Love to see these names on Speedgaming. And Eddie with a little bit of a bonk there, didn't quite get the spark high enough, but a little grin on his face from that, he shakes it off. He'll go for Mission Impossible now.
Yeah, something not quite right with that setup there, bailing on it, but there's that's totally fine. Probably just reverses the direction that he picks up these two items. Nope. Oh no, he's still gonna go up.
He's sticking with it. He's sticking with it. So our runners are both in the same room for just the briefest of moments, but Zeni having already gotten the waterway E-Tank. It's going to head into Green Hill, and that's an easy to forget missile, but not from runners of this caliber.
Hey, Hockey, where do you like to get your VHS tapes from?
Oh, let me tell you. We got options here. I love Blockbuster, but I also love Family Video. Oh my goodness. I love
fall down there, Red Tower. Zeni, of course, would say that by me even alluding to that, I commentator cursed him. I don't know that I'm going to take credit for that one. I think that was pretty vague.
It was pretty vague, but It's just like I've said it before. If all the runners racing miss those tricks, then you know that Netflix truly has put them both out of business, Blockbuster and Family Video. But they're a nice little pair of tricks involving, you know, breaking blocks with speed keep, and it's just a really cute name. But
Yeah.
into Main Street, that is a very tight short charge, so really nice from Zenny there.
Yeah, beautiful short charge, and with the missile kill on the crab beforehand, it's a tight strat to put all together, and then you do it on the backside with this lovely moonfall, and it looks like he got the jump here. Is he gonna have to wiggle? No, he got it. Excellent.
Beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
There's a infamous video of Otsagoats and Zenny grinding through a fish tank. Not that jump specifically, but the following, the exit of fish tank. And it's amazing what anyone can just do with a little bit of motivation and determination to grind their individual room times down. And when you string them all together, Prof, and you get that big fat PB, that personal best, what an amazing feeling that must be.
Absolutely, and a little bit trickier for Zenny necessarily to expect a PB in a race situation here, having already such an optimized time, and of course that would be a new world record.
Right.
I don't know that we can count out a PB from Eddie here. He's having a very solid run. I think he seems to be within just a few seconds of his PB with tons of time save. And so you know, I've levied a couple, you know, very minor criticisms, but I think overall, I mean, the opportunity for him to just cash in on a PB in a race situation here is very, very high. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Yeah, and as chat, just talking up this this new Mother Brain manip, 2 cries. The reason we call it that, and we'll get back into it a little bit later, is I like to measure it, as I talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, in the amount of time it takes Mother Brain to sit down after reaching the back wall. But you can also measure the stand-up manipulation with regards to how many cries you hear from the baby. And it's 7 cries with no manipulation after the drain is done. It's 4 if you do the optimal current version, and it's 2 in the task version. But hey, we can do task strats now. We came up with a new version, a new RTA viable setup. Both runners were practicing it before, so we'll see some 2 cry action, I think, from both. And as Chad asking, no, there has not been a race since that discovery. We've had 2 days off of races from this tournament, and we've had one of the larger discoveries in recent history. And so that's pretty exciting because we'll have an opportunity to see some new tech on display. It has been achieved in a run. I'm pretty sure Zost pulled it off for the first time in a run the other day. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see once we get to Turin. But let's focus on the run at hand. Let's focus on the segments that we're actually going through. Eddie playing almost even with his PB right now. Really, really exciting stuff here. All right, Batoon, what do you got for us, bud? That heckin' particle, man. Zenny almost able to clean it up in 1 round. Gonna finish off with missiles here to save a super. It's actually not really a huge time loss. It is frustrating, though. It's one of those things that just makes you tick a little bit. Yeah, and I have a little bit of a harder time reading the setup for the D factor the way Zenny does it. He has his own setup that actually does throw the particles, to my eyes, a little bit more wild. I'm looking for a nice, clean X factor that settles right behind Samus's leg. But Zenny has a very specific setup that he's created that's generally been quite consistent for him. And it's sort of the particles behave in a way that I'm not as comfortable judging when it is or isn't going to work. Really nice mock ball there from Eddie just a few moments ago, coming through that, what is it, pseudo plasma spark room or bug room or whatever it is, before this this watering hole. Looks like a pretty nice setup there, just judging based on the color of Dragon's belly. It can be a little bit tough to judge. Yeah, lovely fight there. No extra chain damage for Zeni. And immediately into the spike suit. All right, let's see the setup here from Eddie now on this decalled X Factor. Yeah, that's a little bit more traditional setup. Nicely executed there. And I should clarify just by pointing out that there's a slightly different setup from Zeni. That is by no means a criticism. These top runners are very intentional with the strats that they select and the manner in which they choose to execute them. Sometimes things just don't go well, but no, that setup is very good for Zeni. It's just sometimes things just drift a little bit, and it's just a little unfortunate they don't quite go our way. Eddie, unfortunately, getting that quarter halfie, which is one of the more time-consuming ways to miss that, unfortunately. Even more so than just not getting any sort of spark at all, just because of that crash animation.
You hate to see it. You hate to see a bonk like that. But you know what? You know what, school? Eddie's going to dust himself off. He's going to absolutely crush this dragon fight. I got a feeling.
Absolutely agree, Hockey. Welcome back. Sorry. I lowered your mic. I lowered your mic there for a little bit. I needed to have the spotlight all to myself.
I promise, and I say this. I don't like to make promises because I don't like to break them. No more interruptions tonight from me. But we're here.
We got a lot going on. We've got this nice Rain Dance X Factor setup from Eddie. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, looks solid. And a goop. No swoop. Finish him. As good a dragon fight as you'll ever see.
Yeah, and at the exact same time, Zeni cruising through that beautiful Puyo ice clip. And you'll see, now this is really interesting. This is one of the newer things that we've had happening in Super Metroid, specifically within 100%. So Zeni just wasted about 15 or so missiles into the floor there. This is a perfect time to do it because you can do it without creating lag and you're waiting for Shack Tool anyway. Why did he do that? Hockey, why did he do that? Do you have any idea?
It's got to be to manipulate drops later on. It's new to me.
It's gotta be.
Though. I used my brain and I deduced what they were gonna do.
I gotta be honest, Hockey. I think that some of these guys are just making it up on the fly. And
They must be. I mean, I think one of the most thrilling experiences was to be somewhat privy to the academic conversation of this new, mother brain manip. Like, just to be on the outside of that looking in, I'm like, these are literal Super Metroid scholars at work here. Like, this is academic research. This is fantastic. But
Hockey, they are not only scholars. They are not only scholars, they are gentlemen.
Oh, no question.
And I respect them for all the work that they put in. Nice job, by the way, Eddie, there, not soft locking a beautiful blue strat to break through an aqueduct there. So what was Zeni actually doing there? We're having a little bit of fun here, folks. But so burning those missiles, as Hockey correctly pointed out, was a manipulation or a setup for a manipulation later. When you have, is it 32 or 34 missiles during the GT fight, you will only get those sort of large sweeping yellow arc attacks across the screen. If you have a fewer number of missiles, you actually will force GT into a situation where he'll start throwing orbs instead, and it increases the lag by about 1 second over the duration of the fight. But those orbs can drop super missiles, and so essentially what you're doing is you're trying to trade a little bit of lag time in order for a handful of super drops to try to speed things up a little bit later.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Eddie kind of throwing his hands up, but does get that ice clip. Look at that, just raise the roof, Eddie. fist to the ceiling, unbelievable. So that's just like if you were a beginner like me and you go into the bomb Torizo fight with more than 5 missiles, it will cause GT, or I should say BT, to use a similar wave attack. So it's interesting to see a manipulate like that, but for a boss that you face much later and with way more firepower.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so both of our runners executing one of the sort of quintessential strats of the late Croc route, both getting through without having to reset the room, which is about a 10-second time loss. So despite a couple of the hiccups there for Eddie actually getting onto the Puyo, did a nice job not having to reset the room. Got that pixel and frame perfect setup nicely.
Incredible. What have we said about Hundo? It's been said a million times, but it bears repeating. The time losses of this category, it's death by 1,000 cuts. It's just so many rooms, so many ways to optimize and move through all of this Planet Zebes to get these 100 items, but both these runners are looking just razor sharp tonight.
Yeah, and actually, so much going on that it's even hard to follow it all. But Zeni just executed a few rooms ago. If you missed it, go back and check it out. An incredible spring ball strat through the butterfly room, setting up for Cack Alley, and just flew through that Cack Alley with a strat that he himself created that very few runners go for, and is one of the most beautiful things that you will see in any 100% race or run.
Incredible. It's incredible when runners get to a point where they can just start inventing new strategies and new techniques, and those become kind of for some people, not in the case of the trick you just described, Professor School, but in a lot of ways they become kind of the mainline strats, but then you have these offshoots, you have these even more unique, even faster, more high risk kind of strategies as well. It's so amazing. It's so amazing to see the enduring popularity and just pushing the absolute envelope and pushing these times down by these world-class runners.
Yeah, nice double D boost there in the sand hall. Excellent. I love that.
You caught me pontificating again, Professor School. Keep your eyes on the screen, Hockey. My goodness.
Eyes on the prize.
Eyes on the prize. There is, speaking of prize, there is a prize pool for this tournament, is there not?
There is, yeah. I couldn't tell you any details about it, but
somebody in chat must know. Chat, help us out here, but there is a cash prize pool.
There is. This is all part of our 2023 Speedgaming Live. This is the online component of that tournament. There is prizes. There will also be an in-person component with some both SMZ3 and Super Metroid randomizer. So if you can make it down to Herndon, Virginia in November, folks, we have a great event planned for you, both between the online and the in-person. And holy smokes, a really nice Cack Alley there for Eddie as well. Really lovely.
So Zeni going back, getting those, getting that missile pack requires power bombs, so it requires a revisit to Kraid's lair, Kraid's warehouse. But now into the gauntlet, down into Upper Norfair and Lower Norfair. And this is where oh Eddie, that was so close. Oh my goodness. Professor School, hold me tight. Whew.
Hockey, I would do that even if we weren't doing commentary together.
What a gentleman. What an amazing person. Always there to support me. I appreciate you, Prof. But my goodness, Eddie does get that little backup short charge. He wasn't really close to soft locking, but I thought he was. I don't know. It was close enough. Zeni into Croc Speedway here. Gets the space boost, I should say. Look at this movement.
Yeah, and with that excellent door fix, that is one of the more annoying doors in the game and can give you some real issues. Handling it really nicely, and going to be setting up for this chronic boost here in a minute. Nice mock ball.
Absolutely love the chronic boost. It is just one of the, I would say at this point, one of the OG Super Metroid strats. Just
excellently executed there from ShinyZeni. And look at this. I mean, holy smokes, man. A 49 elevator time is just, I mean.
It was almost a 48. It was absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable performance from these runners today.
You'd love to see it. And you never get tired of this track. This is where it all comes together. The final challenge before Torian. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic, I should say, spring ball jumping there from Zeni. But Eddie is really on fire right now. He's moving so fast through this Meridia exit into Kraid's warehouse. Oh, just he shorts the shot put a little bit. Professor School didn't quite get that spring ball jump across there.
Just barely missed it. Zeni, on the other hand, with his spring ball strat to get through safely and over to this missile, that is just a thing of absolute beauty. Holy smokes.
Just be still my heart. Every time our runners have to cross that to get that GT missile. So now this is where burning those missiles will pay off here. Look at the manip. Then there they are. There's the orbs.
Yeah, so let's see. We're going to add a little lag here. We're going to hope that we get those orb drops as we get our plasma shot coming through and see what these supers are at the very bottom. He just shot about 5 orbs out, so we're going to hold our breath and wait to see what kind of super drops we get. 1 to 2 would be excellent.
Oh, yes.
That was I think, at least 2, maybe 3. That was pretty good cash in.
Picks up the screw attack. Not opting to spark here because the crash animation costs you some time if you spark up through there. Is that...
It's true, yeah. I mean, in almost all cases, with some exceptions, crash animations and giant spark strats are often slower than their counterpart, just because of that crash animation. Eddie having a little bit of trouble in Crumble Shaft, but recovering without too much issue. That can be a really annoying one when you miss that jump off those crumble blocks, but a nice recovery.
No question. And Zeni just, this sort of loadout in 100%, this category. Worst room of the game is rendered to be just another room in the game, Professor School, and picking up the trademarked mascot missiles there. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I actually heard that the governor of Florida was trying to ban that room from the game recently.
I wanted Nintendo to actually patch all 1 billion trillion copies of this game one by one through a pre-packaged what the heck am I even trying to say?
Hockey.
Prepaid mailer where you mail in the cartridge. Oh, I'm just gonna stop. Quit while you're behind, hockey. But beautiful red key hunter shaft there from Zeni, lays the power bomb. Just there's no stopping these runners. They never stop moving. It's all about conservation of momentum.
I would go so far as to say that not only can they not stop, they will not stop.
They will not stop until we drive this category all the way down to 111, and then they'll probably be like, well, I'm gonna start working on 110 now.
Oh my gosh, that'll be the day. That'll be the day. I don't think 111 is out of the realm of possibility in the next few years, but we'll have to hold our breaths on 110.
I'm not saying this because I think of myself as an expert, but I've been watching this game for over 7 years now, and I cannot believe where it's gone in any of these categories, but especially Hundo. And stuff is still being discovered.
Is that 7 times in-game time, or is that real time hockey?
Oh, that's real time. Real. Okay. 2016 is when I started my viewership as a Super Metroid speedrun fan. But,
all right, so let's see what Zeni chooses to do here. He executed a beautiful spring ball strat to get into this room. He does have 28 supers, so he could go for the 227 here. Is he gonna go all out? It looks like he's gonna. Yeah. Yeah, just a little slip up at the end there, and you know, he looks a little unhappy about it. But overall, I mean, that 227 fight with the 2 plasma shots and the 27 supers, really nicely done. Ooh, unfortunately, just getting 1 super drop there. You hate to see that.
You do, because he just, like you said, he pulled out all the stops. He burned all those supers for a blisteringly fast Ridley fight, but then to be gobsmacked by just 1 drop, like, come on, Ridley.
Yeah,
you gotta do better than that. But Eddie also really nice GT fight, grabs those supers, just really doing a nice job right now. Just opting to use the screw attack as intended here in the Pillars room, heading into Amphitheater.
Here's one of the other latest additions that we've had to, I mean, just within the last week or so. This is something that one of the excellent taskers in our community, Snick, had suggested. On the right side of your screen there, Zeni just used a Shine Spark instead of the normal Spring Ball strats to actually go up through that Kazan. And it's actually about a 20 to 40 frame time save, depending on how you execute the room.
Crazy.
It's actually kind of risky because of the way that can go wrong, can actually be really, really bad. But I mean, these runners in the middle of a tournament are incorporating new strats. It is really, really high level gameplay.
I can say without any exaggeration, I've never seen that before, and that was absolutely stunning to see that Wasteland Spark. Just, what will they think of next? That's the point where we're at, Professor School, where the strats that are being invented are we're at the sub-second. We're trying to save a third of a second, 2/3 of a second. It's incredible. Oh! Let's go! Zeni! Very nice there. Was that considered a Hotarubi special? I never know.
Yeah, in order for it to be considered the full Hotarubi special, you actually need to get all the way through and break the last set of blocks with your speed ball.
Speed ball, yeah. So that was a ShinyZeni special, which is an homage to the Hotarubi special. I don't know. Oh man. Cutie in chat saying, every time I see someone mess up Hotarubi special, my power grows. Incredible.
We will have to keep a little bit of a close eye here on the super count. Zeni is going to have to make a couple of modifications here and just be a little bit more conservative. You have to just be, you have to always be aware of your resources here in this category. And coming into Turian, I mean, you're okay getting in there with just missiles and not supers, but you know, depending on what your count is, you know, if it's really in the single digits this low, you might opt for an extra drop somewhere, try to farm somewhere, maybe try to open a red door with just missiles.
Yeah, resource management's so difficult in these categories. It looks like Eddie's going for it too. Did eat 2 supers into Ridley's tail, but love that opener with the death from above charge shot to get a little sneak in that little extra charge shot before the fight officially starts. But Eddie's down to 3 supers, going with charge shots here to finish off Ridley. Zeni just going to clean up the very last of Upper Norfair here. So yeah, all things considered, I think that was a terrific fight from Eddie. Of course, not going to forget about that Ridley E-Tank. Nice little refill, but these runners are so good. They don't even need energy. They don't even need that much energy, Professor School. They don't even need it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the run, any sort of concern about energy is behind you, regardless of the route that you end up running. Beautiful D-boost across the room there.
That is, like, no exaggeration, my favorite D-boost in the entire game is that one.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Nice reverse plower house there from Eddie coming through.
Perfect.
I mean, these runners just showing everything off. The D-boost off the waiver there for Zeni. I mean, it's just they're playing all the hits hockey. This is now what I call Super Metroid speedrunning, volume 10.
Volume 10, 2023 edition. And the hits are going to keep on coming from these 2 runners and a lot of others, because I feel like the intensity and the competition is growing. Like, I don't feel like there's been greater interest in this game in the history of its speedrunning, you know, since its inception, pretty much. But here's that. It's called the late Croc route for a reason. That Plasma Beam going to absolutely decimate, finish off Croc in a single shot. But really nice Red Key Hunter Tower here from Eddie. Just a little bit of a slip up there, but just has to grab Firefly.
Yeah, and for those who mainly run early Croc, the reason why Zeni decides to go behind Croc here to pick up this E-Tank early, it doesn't actually save time, but what it does allow you to do is wrap the screen in this funny way here, and it gives you extra chances for this really important spike suit. But listen, Hockey, who needs extra chances when you get it on the first try?
That was absolutely poetic, Prof. It gives you extra chances as then he gets it first try. Like, I feel like a lot of runners are very consistent on their spike suits, but then there's like ShinyZeni consistent on spike suits. It's a different level. He's playing a different game.
He is. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the same game, Hockey. But
It's a metaphor, but it was a horrible metaphor.
if I was going to really nitpick you, I'm going to say that both runners are, in fact, playing Super Metroid.
They are. They absolutely are. But just like spike suits are on by default on over at ShinyZeni Land.
Yeah, by the way, that's one of the instances that I'd like to draw attention to. Normally, Zeni would have been supering the door to get into the Croc PBs. He did missile that door. It's a very minor time loss, but you really can't go down to 0 supers in this case. So it's just a couple things that Zeni is doing to change things. Does he go for... Yeah, of course, he's going to go for this D-boost. That is his last super. But he should be farming one from the Rippers just after this room when he picks up those pantry missiles. And a beautiful strat there, maintaining his speed with that speedball and just swimming in there to that grapple beam. Oh, so smooth. Love to see it.
That little mock ball up that hill, I guess, right into grapple. Absolutely phenomenal. And then of course the grapple beam. It's like a hit scan weapon. It's got the fastest speed of any projectile or beam. You turn around, don't bonk the door if you open it with the grapple beam. You know who taught me that, Professor School? It was Kip. Shout outs to Kip.
Shout outs to Kip.
Talk about shot put there. Zeni just flying over those spikes. Another great spring ball tech and the D boost on the escape here in the cosine room.
Yeah, and even just before that D-boost, there's a really cool thing that Zeni does there is normally you actually don't want to be holding the directional pad when you come out of those item fanfares because you'll actually get slingshotted in the opposite direction. In that specific case, you actually do hold the D-pad because by getting slingshotted back towards the wall, it increases your run speed back towards that D-boost. Just a very small thing that the runners do, but one of those small minutiae that I actually really, really love.
Absolutely. This category, especially in Super Metroid speedrunning, is so much more than the sum of its parts. Just all these little nuances, all these little tricks to maintain Samus's speed or increase her speed. You know, changing direction like that. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a very well designed game, and there's so much in Samus's movement that we can exploit, and which we do exploit. Calling attention to it one more time, so you'll actually see that normally Zeni does that beautiful space jump strat in the Croc missile escape room, and will just do what appears to be a YOLO shot of the super to open that green gate. He opted for a slightly slower but safer strat there, where he could just assure that he was not going to burn his last remaining super trying to open that gate. And all this time, he's doing this trying to hold a spike suit.
I keep like forgetting. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, he is still carrying that spike suit from Croc. That is crazy. Like, to just be able to do that. Also, that this X-ray pickup is so much faster. Look at that, nice, right through the door.
Very nice. It's nearly optimal lag reduction strat there, balling up into morph and also taking out that enemy on the screen, which increases the lag, and being able to use that spike suit. So really, really nice stuff from Zeni. I think still probably running within about a minute of his PB. Looks like about 50 seconds of his PB. Really, really nice stuff here from Zeni.
I mean, when you have the fastest time ever recorded in this category, and you're in a race setting, and you're only 50 seconds off of it, like that is absolutely deranged. I love it. I absolutely love it. Eddie, though, with a nice Croc. Oh, I think got the bad frame there on that spike suit.
Yeah, just a frame early there on that second ump input, unfortunately.
So it doesn't have to worry about carrying that spike suit now because he did not get it. So, you know, I'm tapping my forehead with my index finger, Prof, saying, "Can't drop a spike suit if you don't get it."
Hold on! Holy smokes, folks! ShinyZeni pulling out the incredible reverse slinky all the way up that green hill zone, folks. That is one of the most difficult strats. It's one of the least attempted strats, even by top runners. I don't blame the people who don't go for it, but when you do, and when you knock it out the park like that, that is one of the most beautiful things that you will see. It's a spring ball strat. What do I call it? Hockey, what should we call that strat? It's poetry in motion, baby.
Poetry in motion, Professor School. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I had a little bit of a coughing fit, and my jaw clattered uselessly to the floor of my apartment because we have just seen Reverse Slinky in a race setting. Are you kidding me right now? Is there anything these runners can't do?
Probably
Oh my
anything out
goodness.
of bounds or related to G mode, because I think that would be breaking the rules of the category.
And look at Eddie in chat mid-race. I bonked the door because I was watching that Slinky. Oh my gosh! I mean, it's one thing to be a competitor; it's another thing to be a fan. Sometimes there's some overlap. Oh, I don't believe this. What the hits just keep on coming, like you said, Professor School, and 100% poetry in motion. I don't believe this.
Ooh, Zenny just bonking that door there. That's a beautiful spring ball strat that he uses to get across that room, or a morph strat that he uses to get across that room. There's so much stuff that these runners are doing. It's just one after the other. These rooms are so demanding, and this blue Bryn cleanup is very, very difficult.
It is, no question about it. No question about it. Love that spark across old Mother Brain. Grab the PB pack, or I should say the missile pack there below Mother Brain's tank, and then that's just climb supers and 230 missiles. And that's it. Just a phenomenal run, though.
That's true, Cutie. Calling it out in chat. The cream does, in fact, rise to the top. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dig it.
We're seeing the top right here. This has been... I know I joined late, but the parts that I've gotten to see have been just, like I said, jaw-droppingly good. If the whole tournament is going to be like this, Professor School, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to me. But I did see, we did get confirmation from QZ. The prize pool's up to $1,710. So that is really something.
We're going pro, Hockey.
We're going pro. You love to see it. I mean, yeah, the money changes it, but I love it. I encourage it. You got to have some incentive. More than just bragging rights, more than just pride. Show them the money, Professor School.
Show me the money.
Oh my goodness.
Lovely speedball strat there, exiting Terminator from Zenny. And will be touching down at the G4 statue, still within about 53 seconds of his PB. A really incredible run, still on 113 pace here. Excellent stuff from Zenny, despite some of the slip-ups that I'm sure he's frustrated with himself about. But honestly, I mean, what a show that they're putting on for us, these two runners. Excellent
No question
stuff.
about it. No question about it, Prof. And I'm going to be as quiet as I can, because Zenny's Metroid rooms are a sight to behold, and so is his baby skip. So, viewers, you've probably seen it before, but if you're like me, you never get tired of seeing it. We're in for a real treat here, heading into Torian. But Eddie, all things considered, Prof, he's really done a nice job in this race, and really not that far behind, just working on this blue Bryn cleanup.
Yeah, probably on just a low 118 pace right now. I think 117 is still possible from Eddie. I mean, these are insane times that these two runners are putting up. I mean, just a handful of years ago, the world record was in the 117 range, right? So, I mean, this is even now with all the additions and modifications that we've made, these top times in this category, specifically Hundo, because it's so long and there's so much to learn, it really is one of the things that can separate the good from the great runners.
No question about it. Zenny getting a little bit hacked with these super drops. Oh, heading into... I know, of course, you have a million missiles, sure, but supers make everything go faster.
Yeah, and this is just, it's one of those things you just have to be able to sort of shake this off. You've practiced these Metroid rooms maybe more than almost anything else in the game. You do it for every category. those strats are right there in your fingers, and sometimes they just don't really come out right. You got to be able to sort of clear your head and reset, because you got a couple big tricks coming up here with baby skip and zeb skip, and then stand up. So a lot going on for our runners, but overall a pretty excellent performance,
I'll say. And here it is, a little baby skip action here. Oh,
that's too bad.
Close.
It's not the worst case scenario. I mean, at least Zeni didn't get grabbed going through the door and get baby slow down. It is unfortunate, but you're happy at least in that situation. You're up in the race by a comfortable margin. It probably takes the 113 off the table, unfortunately, but it could be worse. And I think you just have to reset and keep moving forward here.
For sure, Professor School. Dust it off.
We are coming up on an interesting moment here, because we're coming up on Mother Brain. We're gonna have the 2 phases of this fight, and then leading into that 3rd phase, we're gonna have stand up. And I've alluded to it a couple different times. I've talked about it a little bit, but we essentially have a new manipulation here that was once TAS only. It was first introduced in the it was either 100% of the GG Classic TAS by Saturn, the TASer, and then there was some updates and modifications made to it by Snick and a number of other TASers. But we have not had a viable RTA setup for the fastest stand-up manip, which saves 5.5 seconds over
unbelievable amount of time.
Over no manip whatsoever, and about 2.5 to 3 seconds over what our runners were saving just 48 hours ago. I mean, we are talking about hot off the presses. Zeni put out a video based on work that I did with him and Nobody Nada. Shout outs to Nobody and Zeni. The 3 of us worked together to come up with this manip. And just 24 hours later, and this is one of the very cool things about having an international community, we went to sleep tired after our efforts. Behemoth woke up, started streaming, and Behemoth started coming up with his own setup. It was originally and it was originally a 4-frame jump into a 2-frame window jump. And Behemoth started messing around, and Zeni did some more task work this morning based on that. And the full details are out there. I won't go into all of them, but that 4-frame jump into a 2-frame jump is now a 6 or 7-frame window into a 6 to 9-frame window, depending on some details that I won't get into right now because it's a little complicated. But it's pretty forgiving, and it's standardized going into the second jump, so you can buffer all of those inputs.
That's fantastic, Prof. I was unaware that they'd widened both of those windows as far as frames.
It's been a very, very exciting couple days and hours to be a Super Metroid speedrunning fan. And let's see, did he get it? Yes, let's go! Let's heckin' go!
Let's smile!
Let's heckin' go! Beautiful manip from ShinyZeni, lining up with some visual cues in the background. The X position doesn't matter, so you can do it anywhere along the floor in this room as long as you don't get hit by Mother Brain. We were originally doing it up against the wall. He moved over a little bit to use some background cues for a standardized setup that was in there. Mother Brain just sat down in 1.5 seconds instead of somewhere between 4 and 7 seconds. That is a massive time save. When we're talking about dangerous strats that we practice for days at a time to save 5 or 10 or 15 frames, we're talking about a 2.5 to 3 second time save with a standardized setup and a beautiful manipulation of the baby on top of that to get the baby off screen as fast as possible. That is one of the absolute most incredible Mother Brain 2-3s that you will see, and we just got it here for the first time in a race within 48 hours of its real-time attack viable inception. Folks, there's nothing quite like that. What an excellent moment for Zeni to show that off.
That was as perfect a Mother Brain 2 and 3 as you'll ever see. The new manip, the baby manip at the end, and then the 2-shot right into the corner. Oh, and now he's on the escape. Never seen it before, folks. History is being made at a rapid pace, Prof, like you said.
Yeah,
14 hours ago, it didn't exist.
I'm so hyped about this. Hockey, I have to say that I have been obsessed with trying to find a real-time viable version of that task strat for over a year. The first recorded instance of me doing it on stream was in April of 2022, but we just could not find a standardized way. And so this is just such an incredible development. And to see it knocked out the first possible opportunity in a race is just so wonderful.
No question. Zeni, just one more door escape and a little bit of steam RNG and he will have victory. But Eddie with the Stachio skip, he must be from another continent because he just went the wrong way around that baby. But Zeni has done it, Professor School. What's that official race time?
He has done it. Get your GGs into chat. ShinyZeni moving on in this tournament in the winners bracket, finishing with an official speed game or racetime.gg time of 1 hour 14 minutes and 11 seconds. GG to Zeni.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal.
And Eddie knocking out that Stachio skip. I mean, talk about an incredible 6 months for Super Metroid. Two things we did not have that collectively save 6 or 7 seconds between the two of them, depending on how you measure them. Both the Stachio skip, that clockwise baby skip. Now, obviously, there's Spring Ball baby skip, which is slightly faster than 3-jump Stachio skip, but still one of the most incredible developments that we've had recently. And Zeni knocking out the new Mother Brain manip, Eddie knocking out the Stachio skip. We're getting all of the tech. As we said before, Hockey, the hits just keep on coming.
They really do. They really do. I love that the Stachio skip, a longtime Super Metroid speedrunner and community member Stachio Cat, did it as a joke, and it became now what, like, at least in any percent, I think the fastest way to do it, and in 100% second only to the Spring Ball baby skip.
That's right.
Unreal.
That's right. Well, big GG's to Zeni. You know, unfortunate with the baby skip miss there, but overall just an excellent run. And there he is, the man of the hour. Too sweet to be sour. Zeni, GG's on your win and welcome in.
Hey, you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear, Zeni. Okay. You are an absolute madman.
Why do you say that?
You saw what you did. You were doing it. Prom and I were like foaming at the mouth over so many different things throughout that run, but especially the debut of that new kind of baby Mother Brain stand-up manip. What's the official name? I don't know what it stand-up manip.
We were calling it Two Cries because Mother Brain or the baby or whatever's making that like cry noise only does it twice before the baby detaches.
The Two Cries, the Two Cries manip. Incredible.
Yeah, which is also my new rapping name, by the way. Hockey.
Professor School, aka Two Cries.
That's right. Zeni, you got your cam on stream here. We saw the visible reaction. You were so pumped when you hit that.
I was very happy. Yes.
Well, conversely, we did just see a thumbs down from Eddie. I think he went for it. Didn't quite pull it off.
Yeah, but excellent stuff. I'm sure it feels great to hit it. There's been so much development in the last 48 hours. And I was actually saying on commentary, Zeni, it's kind of cool. There hasn't actually been any races for 2 days. And all of this update to this room has happened just in the span of that time. So to have that essentially like the community go dark for 2 days of races and to come back and have this new thing be such a hype and fun discovery, and for you to nail it in the first run back as one of the people that helped establish that first viable setup, I think it's really incredible, and I'm happy for you, and I'm glad you're pumped about it.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I was really nervous. I didn't play at all yesterday, and we didn't find the setup until I was done playing on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So that was my first time at Mother Brain in a run setting since the manip came out.
Wow.
And wow. I was just like, there's this thing about new strats. I don't know if it's this way for everybody, but for me, like, I have to practice new strats in a practice setting, but I also have to go for them in a run setting. Mm-hmm. And I usually screw up in a run setting the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times or whatever, just because it's the muscle memory in a run isn't there yet, right? Mm-hmm. And just before the race, I was like practicing the setup, and I was like doing the inputs in the wrong order, and I was like, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. But I went for it anyway, and you probably saw me like practicing the inputs in G4.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny about that is I was holding the wrong angle in G4.
Oh, you were angled down instead of angled up?
I was angled down, and that does matter.
It does. It does matter.
So I did it, like 10 times or whatever, and then I was like, wait, I've been holding angle down this whole time, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna screw it up. But
oh my goodness.
Yeah. Hey Eddie, welcome
folks,
in.
Get your GGs into chat. We got Eddie finishing in second place with a very impressive 1:18:43. You two gentlemen put on an absolute show for us. Thank you so much, and GGs on a superb race, just chock full of incredible tech. GGs to you both.
I want to say something real quick. Today's defeat was indeed a defeat for me. And the only reason is a defeat is not the race time timers, but the fact that Zeni got the minute and I did it because I was holding angle. I was holding angle.
And I was like, wait, I can't all they care about is 2 cries now. I don't believe this. You guys put on an absolute movement clinic for the last almost 80 minutes. And all you care about is this darn manip. I don't believe this.
Zeni, when I was at G4, you were on the restream at Mother Brain. So it was a convenient time where I got to watch to see if you could get it. Oh, and I saw you get it. I'm like, sick. And then I see you pop off, and I'm like, I think that was what he was nervous about.
No, I'm dead serious. The whole run, I was just thinking about that. The whole run.
Same. I'm like,
I was like, okay, you know what? I miss Blue Bomber Aqueduct. That sucks. But as long as I get 2 cries, we're good. Oh, you know what? I miss Baby Skip. Well, normally I'd be pretty upset about that. But as long as I get 2 cries, we're good.
2 cries. So, Zeni, is it true to say that 2 cries has become the soothing balm for all other mistakes in this category?
I don't know about that, but I will say
for today it is.
Today it is, and also it makes it way more worth finishing runs to practice just that, because it's such a huge. I mean, it's 2.5 to 3 seconds over the old manip, and for casual viewers that probably doesn't sound like but that much. But honestly, that is such a huge time save at this point of optimization in the run. So right now it's that fun thing where it's like, oh yeah, I saved 3 seconds. But as soon as somebody gets it in a PB, it's going to be that thing that they go for and they mess it up. And then it's like a, 4 or 5 second loss.
Yeah.
And that's going to be painful when that happens. So
yeah. And I will say, Zeni, the other thing that really adds to this moment is not just that we found this setup, but that this is something that has existed in tasks for a while now. Mm-hmm. And you and I both and a number of other people have been really struggling to come up with something that is actually viable and consistent. And the fact that it came together as quickly as it did and then got updated as quickly as it did to an even wider, more lenient window is just a testament to how incredible this community is. I was saying on commentary, you and I went to bed after being exhausted, and then Behemoth in another time zone wakes up and starts working on it. So we literally have this community working around the clock to improve this game, and it's showing in this tournament. And I just think it's such a perfect representation of all of the hard work that everyone is putting in. I think it's awesome.
Well spoken. Well said, Prof.
I got to give a couple shout outs here. Shout outs to Professor School. You've done a lot of work on stand up, and I appreciate that. Shout outs to Nobody Nada. He was the one that really enabled us to start working on this in the first place a couple days ago.
Yep. And
shout outs to Zosti for being the first one to get it in a run yesterday.
Wow.
Pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, I mentioned that on comms as well. Mm-hmm. So overall, pretty excellent. I mean, I know the focus has really become talking about 2 cries, and I think really for good reason. It's such a huge breakthrough. I don't know if either one of you have anything else that you'd like to say with regards to the race. We could talk a little bit about upcoming races as well. Both of you have upcoming potential opponents that you're looking forward to. But if there's anything else about this race in particular, now is the time to talk about that.
So, what was your Varia time? I was curious. I thought I was doing pretty good in the early game, but you were just like so far ahead. I was like, oh my god.
10:38 on touch.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think you were like one room behind. If I remember, I opened up stream for just a second to see, and I was in Crade, and you were like in the room before Crade, so something like that. But yeah, I haven't said this yet, so GG Eddie. I was keeping my eyes on the stream, not like all the time, but periodically, and I saw multiple people in chat saying, "Wow, Eddie is playing really well for how much time he has 100%." So I'm excited to go back and watch the race and see how we both did and everything. With that, I also just want to say thank you again to Speedgaming for hosting the tournament. Many of you probably don't know this, but Eddie was actually pretty instrumental in getting me set up to get things started with this. Since he ran last year's any percent tournament, and I think the year before that as well. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? So shout outs to Eddie for that. Tournament probably wouldn't be happening without him. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you to Speedgaming, thank you to the comms, and thank you to everybody that's participating. It's been awesome so far, and I look forward to more races in the near future. Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, yeah, Zeni, thanks for the race. It was fun. I kept telling everybody like, oh yeah, I'm gonna destroy Zeni today. yeah, it's Zeni. I don't know who is that guy, and I thought my one saving grace would be to get the 2 cries along with you and be like, see, you know what, I got it too. But
well, you know what,
those inputs, man, it's kind of complicated. I just remember. I was holding angle. I'm like, why can't I morph?
Oh my gosh, Eddie, I have to say, I'm not trying to cut you off, but my favorite part of the race was when you just appeared in chat and you were like, I bonked that door because I was watching Zeni get Slinky.
I saw the chat. Did that
actually happen?
Yeah. So I just picked up grapple. Right? And then you know how like you have to switch the grapple to open the door, otherwise you bonk the door. I see chat going crazy, and they're like, "Oh, reverse Slinky!" And I'm like, "Whoa, what just happened?" And then I look, and then the fanfare ends, and I shoot the door with my beam bonk it, and I have no speed. I'm just like, "Wait, this is really bad. I've never had this happen to me before. Lose all your speed." But yeah, I was. I will admit towards the late, I was making a lot of mistakes later game, and then at some point I was definitely kind of invested a little bit in it and seeing if you would get the 2 cries or not, because I think that's what we were a little concerned about.
Touristing, you caught him viewing. Unreal.
Good thing this isn't a rando tournament, right?
Oh yeah, so that's my bread and butter. That's my bread and butter. Maybe I should have done the RBO stuff with you. We should have ran the streams route.
Yeah, I mean, I was that was a meme. I wouldn't have done it if you'd have done it. So. No offense to Sustream, but that's just asking for trouble on my part.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you both have some opponents to look forward to. Zeni, you're going to be sitting around waiting for the winner of Sloters and Fat Scott in that top half of the bracket. Eddie, you're going to be back into the redemption bracket waiting on the upcoming race between Decalled and P-Toil. Obviously, this is the opportunity for both of you to throw down and smack talk as much as you want. Didn't think anyone would actually jump on that. I'm just kidding, of course.
All I'm gonna say is, I used to meme that I always lose to Sloters. That's really not true anymore. But I am I'm very much looking forward to the next matchup, whether it's versus Sloters or Scott. I'm definitely looking forward to it. So.
All right, hold on. Who am I playing? Is it going to be? I know it's Decalled, and who is the opponent?
P-Toil. It'll be the winner of D and P-Toil, yeah.
D and P-Toil. Okay, I'm familiar with it. Okay, they're both going in the trash can immediately after.
There it is. Yeah, 100%. That's what we were looking for.
I had to make sure I was familiar enough with them so I could say that, and I am. So yeah, there we go.
Decalled invented the D factor, no slouch, and P-Toil. I mean. You better show up, Eddie.
Oh, I'm beating him with his own tools. There's a lot of stats I actually stole from D. I'm going to use them against him if he proceeds on. And if, fun fact, if P-Toil actually goes on through, the first any percent tournament that I ran, I participated in it. And P-Toil knocked me into losers. So if Pito makes it through, I have to like thoroughly destroy him.
This is your chance.
Yeah, so I got some beef with Pitoil, and he's cool, but I have to just destroy him with his own strats.
Oh my god.
That's the plan.
Eddie's throwing down the gauntlet. The kid skin gloves have come off, folks.
Folks, you heard it here first. We are firing up for a wild weekend of races. We have 6 races on the schedule officially, and a couple more that might get added between Friday and Monday, including the first of those, Pitoil versus Decalled, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Gloves are off, folks. We are into the thick of this tournament. Folks are actually getting eliminated now. There's money on the line. We have excellent speed running action still coming your way, and both of these incredible runners, Eddie and Zeni, are still alive in this tournament and are getting ready to give their future opponents a tough time, so stay tuned for that. Big GG's to both of you. I'll give you one last chance if there's anything else you'd like to say as we close this down, but an excellent race from our perspective here on the commentary booth, and we thank you for that excellent performance.
I'm good. Thank you, though.
I'm good here, too. Yep.
All right. Let's get out of here.
Well, Hockey.
Thanks, everybody.
It's been a fun time, Hockey. It's been excellent being with you in the commentary booth. I'm very grateful. I'm going to let you take us home, Hockey. You weren't here in the beginning, but dang it, you're here at the end, and we want your sweet dulcet tones sending us home for the rest of our Thursday. Take it away, Hockey.
You're absolutely too kind, Prof. I'm so glad that I could commentate this race. I'm so glad that I did not duck Zeni for the umpteenth time. It was not intentional. I hope he believes me, but very glad I got to get in here for at least a little, most of the race. Huge shout outs to Speedgaming, all the tournament organizers. Commentary, if you're interested in it, sign up. We need voices, so lend your voice to this game and these amazing runners. So on behalf of all the TOs, everybody at Speedgaming, my co-com Professor School, Eddie and Zeni, terrific race. This is the Hockey Towner, wishing you all a wonderful evening and a better tomorrow.
Thank you.